Good morning. Welcome back to Wednesday's Mastery of the Middle. We started off the week a bit quiet. Lee has been incredibly busy the past couple days, so we hope that all of her busyness is going to equate to so much amazing breakthroughs in her business and her career, everything. So she'll be back with us. We just had to give her a little bit of a break. And same thing last Friday. Do apologize, but I had a huge last minute scheduling conflict. So thank you so much for everybody being patient about that and supportive. I wanted to talk about something again. Mastery of the Middle is the theme that we always kind of base this on Wednesdays. But what I wanted to talk about was the conversation around leadership. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And it to put it in perspective, I think everybody does this, that sometimes we can hear something and then we can hear the exact same advice again from the same person, even in this case. And for some reason, the second or third or the fourth time we've heard it, it really makes a difference to us. It really sticks with us and really says this is something you need to pay attention to. And again, maybe that's because the universe was saying, hey, listen to this for myself. Good morning, Lee. So I had that happen actually today. So it was interesting because I was already thinking about talking about leadership. And then I heard this example this morning that just kind of to me solidified that I needed to talk about this. And I will get to that after because it will kind of tie everything together. Um, Leadership in corporate America versus entrepreneurialism is exactly what I talk about because, again, this ties in perfectly with the mastery of the middle, meaning the middle section of our track down the path. It's everything from our goal to, or I'm sorry, our idea to goal, everything. And what that means is that that is the rough part of the road. That is the part of the road that's unknown, that no one else has been down it before, including yourself. So you're in no man's land in a lot of ways. And the only thing you have is your preparation, your map that you give yourself, and all the tools that you brought and that you can carry. Very similar to exploring, right? There's the same correlation. So mastery in the middle will always be the theme, but today in particular I want to talk about leadership. So today's standard, there was this article I just found. It was a LinkedIn article about a 2020 study of surveyed employees. Okay, I want to make sure I got that right. So what was the description of being a rude or disrespectful boss was basically the criteria of this study. 70% of respondents felt criticized in front of their peers. 83% felt bad about it. And finally, the worst case scenario in this study, 42% of the bosses in this study blamed others for their failures, and 84% of those employees felt like it was unfair. So that was a lot of numbers. Basically, let's just be honest, either almost 50% of bosses blamed the team. Of that, 70% felt criticized in front of peers, not individually, not motivated, criticized. 83% felt like it actually affected their career. And when they were being blamed as a team, 84% of those employees felt like it was unfair. And again, what did that do for their careers? So the reason why I'm bringing this up, and I'm not going to sit and read through all of it, but that was very important and that really stuck with me. The reason being is that we've all been there. Lee just said the same thing. I literally, the minute I read that, I thought back to the worst boss I ever had. And when actually Alethea and I were both working downtown Chicago, same time, and I left that job because of him. I could have stayed and had a great career there, but there was no possible way considering the management style of this company. I've used this example before, and this is just a small, tiny example of what happened there. But for example, there was no training with this position or this job. It was left to a girl that was younger than me, and she said, sit here, do this report, have it to him by 9 a.m. every day. with no training. I had no clue even what half of the categories stood for. And I was always wrong. No matter what I did, I was always wrong. And he berated me. I have had bosses make me cry. I've had stockbrokers that I used to work for snap their fingers at me. I've gone through uncomfortable situations, as many women have. I've always stood my ground and said no, but that affected my career. We've all been there with those situations, and I won't go on a tangent, but the point is, we've all been there. And I tried to think about this, and this is why I wanted to talk about this article today. Why is it that we have such a high percentage? Like, what is wrong? What is the baseline for being wrong here? And then I thought about it, and this really hit me when I was thinking about this week. That's the standard, meaning it's the accepted right now. And that's not right. And that is exactly what is out there. Well, why is that? So let's get to the why. Well, this is my belief that leadership in corporate settings or in established Fortune 500, whatever the situation may be that you want to call it, is generally done by process of elimination. They might have 5 candidates and they pick one. And most of the time it's based off of that piece of paper, the old-fashioned resume attitude of this person has skills. I have never seen, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, any time where a resume was required to have what are the personal, not the typical buzzwords or the words that they need to hear, not the I have interpersonal skills. I've seen that enough times on a resume. What I'm talking about is I have worked this hard on these things to become competent, expert, whatever, in the personal side. Doesn't exist. And I think that is obviously it's a tricky road, and we could have that debate all day long about would it be effective or would it work. My point though is, in comparison, when you talk about leadership within an entrepreneurial situation, that where you're growing a team, and yes, there might be a day you replace yourself as CEO, there might be a day you hire somebody to take on leadership. That's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you are in the position to lead. You are, boom, placed in that position. Today's day one. What are you going to do? We need to work on the personal growth. How many times have we all been told that in entrepreneurialism, it will not succeed without personal growth? And I'm letting you know, if this is the first time you've heard it, buckle up. That is the biggest thing. And all of us are a bit oblivious to this when we start out, and to the point of, you think, yeah, sure, I'm going to have to grow a little. Oh, yeah, no, you're going to have to grow even more than that, and then even more, and then even more. And that is the point. So I believe because of the personal growth, the development of our skill set, and also the evolution of who we are into leadership gives us an advantage in a whole nother way over being brought up in that corporate environment or cultivated in the corporate environment. And I think this is a very important thing, because the things that we just mentioned that were in this study are all about the personal side. It wasn't a skills assessment. Every one of these categories fell into treatment, personal contact, conversations, attitude, whatever you may want to call it. But it's very interesting to me that all of these things that were brought up were on the personal side and could have been done a lot better. Now, I'm generalizing again because we're talking about general statistics, but I'm working with what we've got. And this is an article, like I said, from LinkedIn. I'm more than glad to drop this in later in the replay. But I find it very interesting that the reasons that support it, they gave 4, again, are personal. One was disrespect. That was one category. The second was lack of transparency. Third was missing in action, absentee leadership. Oof, that doesn't work in entrepreneurialism. And then the fourth one is micromanagement. So either they're completely missing or they are micromanaging every move, which how many people have worked for a micromanaging boss? We all have. So that is, to me, a very simplistic view of corporate America and what's wrong. However, the interesting thing is we can use this, and we need to use this to do a better job as we grow teams and we impact our economy and our world through creating employment and positions for people to thrive in. The thing that this ended with, and I love the fact that this is what it said, they never exercise the self-awareness muscles to see something outside of their current paradigm. And that paradigm needs to shift through coaching, curiosity, and personal development. And quite honestly, I didn't read that until now, so I'm very, very glad that it came back to that point. So that's why I'm saying that we have a real advantage as leaders that develop versus leaders that were just picked. I really think that that is the backbone of how we are going to make a difference for the next generation. This is the best time ever. I mean, I say this almost every day. This is the best time in history to become an entrepreneur. This is the best time in history to dive in, dig in, and build something, because the entire environment is shifting. For example, we are disrupting as a company the education field. And the reason we are doing that is because there is a lack of education for entrepreneurs or people that want to get out of that corporate setting into entrepreneurialism. Find an industry, or better yet, look inside the industry you're already in and disrupt it. Find a new way to bring it to market, try, find a better way, fix the things that you see. Just concentrate on one problem. That could be an entire baseline for a new company. So that is something that I cannot stress enough. And so now I'm going to get to my third point, which was the example that's been haunting me forever, literally for 2 years. So there's a spoken word motivational speaker. A lot of people have heard of him, and I love him. In fact, I've shared his information or his podcast with my entire team because it's so good to listen to. I love listening to it in the mornings when I'm getting ready. And he has used this example. I'm not kidding you. I could be lying and say I've heard it 4 times now. I've probably heard it even more than this. But it has, over the years, I've been listening to him for probably 3 or 4 years now. Over the years, I've heard this example many times. And I think about it, I'm like, man, that was great. And then I let it go. Well, then again, today, preparing for this conversation about leadership, I listened to it in an entirely different way. And it's the example of a lily pad. And it's so simplistic. Please use it. Think about this. Use this for meditation, for mentalization of what you want your future to look like in your company, all of those things. So the example is when a lily pad begins, when a pond of lily pads, I apologize, start growing, there is this abundance on day 30, for example. Day 30, it's beautiful. It's that picturesque, Instagram-worthy moment that's just, nature became its own art. It's just incredible. But his question was, what day shows 50%? Well, in the example, what he says is a lot of times in our head, our math and our logic says day 15. Day 15 means you can see half of the progress. And that's not the case at all. Day 29, 50% is visible. Day 30, 100% is visible, which means day 15 that we thought 50% should show, it's actually probably not even visible yet. And the point of this is all the changes that we make and all of the progress that we are making doesn't need to be visible to everybody else. We choose this path, again, to make a path that has never been made before. We're making something to make the world a better place. We're trying to make an impact on our industry and make things better or improved. That means day 15, you might not be able to show off your results. That's okay. What happens 15 days after that? The whole pond is beautiful. And it was such a great example of all of the hard work we do that's unseen. I have felt that for a very long time, that I don't have to announce to the world all of the things I'm doing and all of the titles I hold and all of the things that I've accomplished. None of us do. But we give the highlights, right? What happens though when we show up hard and bring together a company that is going to make an impact? Isn't that worth every day 15? Absolutely. So we have to keep going on that path, because what we can't even see will be visible soon. That's the whole point. That and the same, and that's, I've mentioned this one before, but he's also the same person that you're welcome, Lee. Oh yes, you've heard it too. Perfect. The other one that he said that's always stuck with me, that I try to remind myself all the time, is that when we begin, we can't see progress. We've got our head down, or we're looking down, and we're looking forward, but we're consistently, day in and day out, get up and do the same thing and work and build and educate and all of those things. But all of a sudden, after a while, we look up and we look back over our shoulder, and there's a space between where we began and where we're standing right now. So that might not be visible. That might be day 15. That may be day 20, 25. But what happens on day 30 with the pond? Beautiful. It's beautiful. So I hope this helps everybody out, just with the thought of what leadership should mean to you, what leadership should mean to you in the future as an entrepreneur and for a team. This article, like I said, was a really great reminder. And also, I was already planning on talking about this, so it was perfect timing. But please take this to heart, that we need to be always working on the personal side and also the endurance part of being an entrepreneur, because it does get tough. So I hope this is helpful. We'll be back Friday with our roundtable, and we'll be back next week with some more new stuff. Today, it's a beautiful day. I actually feel unfair from telling everybody this, but it's almost 70 degrees here in Dallas already. I'm very grateful, very, very grateful for the beautiful weather. This is our little bit of a reprieve this week before rain comes again tomorrow. This is our rainy time of year, and it's really difficult for my health. So I'm going to be pacing myself a little bit better today, for sure, than I normally would have. I'm trying to do better about that. So that is my goal right now, is to realize I've worked hard for years and I will not stop. But when my body needs a little extra attention, that's okay too. So that is my plan today, the rest of the week. Please, everybody, have an amazing, amazing rest of their week. And if anybody has any feedback in regards to this conversation, please drop it in the comments, because this is something that's very important for all of us, is to create better companies, to employ more people, and to be able to make a world impact. So let's all go do it together. So have a wonderful day, and I will be back on Friday with Lee. Have a great day.